Hello and welcome to the No Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick McDonald, with me co-host Sheldon Kaufman. Today, we are doing the Milwaukee Bucks off-season recap and preseason predictions episode. If you do not know, we give every team their own full-length episode, and at the end, we do a full 30-team predictions episode. That's actually coming up very soon. We're almost done with our fourth division. We got 11 teams left after this one. Flying through this as our first full off season, in the realms here. Before we get started, Sheldon has a Bucks related trivia question. Let's see, what do we got?
Good thing I was muted there because I had a little slip up. But so the NBA in the first year that they gave out the Defensive Player Award was in 1983. What Milwaukee Buck won the award for Defensive Player of the Year? The first one ever given out.
This has to be Lou Alcindor, baby.
It is
No,
not.
it's Sidney Moncrief.
Sidney Moncrief. Yeah, Sidney Moncrief was the first one. Yeah. So Pat, I'm gonna try to give you some newer, some earlier, or some more of your time period going forward, but some more time period trivia questions. But you were killing all of those, so I had to throw in some curveballs. But we'll get back to the regularly scheduled 2010s/2000s trivia soon enough. Don't worry. I had to there's some curveballs in there though.
Man, really needed the Jody Meeks or the DJ Augustine question. Would have for sure gotten those ones. Not Sidney Moncrief, who's one of the best defensive guards of all time. No. Almost got it. I thought the twist there was that Lou Alcindor was the answer rather than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's why I was so confident running to the podium with it.
Threw in the government name.
Man, I almost had it. Do we got anything that we want to go over before we start the Milwaukee Bucks?
Let's just hop right into it, Pat.
This is going to be awesome. 2025 Milwaukee Bucks, everybody's favorite team of all time. 5th in the Eastern Conference at 48-34. 47-35 expected record, was 11th in the NBA, and that matches their 11th ranked SRS at 2.12, which is opponent adjusted net rating. Basically, how well did you play against your opponents? At home, they were 28-14. That is very good. On the road, managed just a 20-20, 29-24 pre-All-Star break. 19-10 post All-Star break versus the Eastern Conference, 31-21 versus the West, 17-13 in clutch games. They were 24-17 with a plus 6.7 net rating. That ranks 10th in the NBA, and I would be mistaken if I didn't mention the in-season tournament championship. Let's go. Anything else huge on this Milwaukee Bucks team for you?
Yeah, so, just, a pretty good season for them. You end up getting the 4 seed, or the 5 seed?
5 seed.
Pacers the 4 seed. End up getting the 5 seed, just because of, a little stretch at the end of the season. But, you see they were pretty good post All-Star break, 19-10. Pretty good pre-All-Star break, 29-14, 29-24. You had Giannis, who I had at the I want to say top 3, or I know he was top 5 in a lot of my MVP ladders. Just incredible season from him once again. But the biggest thing you got to talk about the Bucks was not only the coaching with Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham, the duo of doom, but you also had Dame Lillard go out in a crucial series against the Pacers, and that kind of just they didn't have the best chances going into that series, and it definitely didn't help that Dame got hurt. So yeah.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, they played really good in the stretch without Damian Lillard. A large part of that is their 19-10 post All-Star break run. They just really went on a stretch. I think weirdly enough, John Horst it did cook a little bit at the deadline. He knew to get Jericho Sims, the better of the Knicks backup centers compared to Precious Achiuwa, rather than getting him. And he got freaking Kevin Porter Jr. for Marjan Beauchamp, who's out of the league 2 years into his NBA career. And Kevin Porter Jr. was literally terrible for the Clippers and then plays good for the Bucks. Makes no sense. I mean, sometimes insanity just ends up working, and that's what they did post deadline. And they actually went on a decent run going into the playoffs. Predictably, I think, like we said, they got whooped by the Pacers because we were very hip to the Pacers before the playoff run, and we're very out on the Bucks before the playoffs too. Offensively, we'll talk about their offense. 115.9 offensive rating, ranked 11th in the NBA, 5th in preventing turnovers, 30th Doc Rivers' signature and offensive rebound rate, 14th in pace. As far as play type efficiencies, 8th in isolation, 6th in pick and roll ball handler efficiency, 3rd in pick and roll roller efficiency, 17th in post up efficiency, 6th in transition efficiency. All of these sound pretty good. I would say if I had to describe anything here, they had the efficiency. They were a well-operating machine that operated in a stupid way because they had very low transition rates. They were a huge team that never went and fought for offensive rebounds. They ran a ton of post-ups. I think specifically for Giannis, that's a Doc Rivers signature right there. I think if Giannis was not idiot-proof, if he was basically any other star, this would have gone tragically bad. But he's very much idiot proof. You can spam halfback dive and consistently gain yards here. It's just I think I talked about the trade deadline cooking. That's also considering John Horst made one of the worst trades of all time with the Wizards, trading Chris Middleton, who's still pretty good when he plays, for Kyle Kuzma, who was terrible for the Wizards. Surprisingly, was still terrible for the Bucks. Who would have thought? And they also attached capital to get a worse player. Crazy. I think part of it was also just having an extra player makes it to where Doc Rivers can't play Taurean Prince more. Which, whether or not you think Taurean Prince or Kyle Kuzma is a worse war crime to do for a coach, that's up to you. But you gave him more bad decisions to do. So I don't know. Giannis was so idiot proof that it ran through the coaching. But what stands out to you for the offense? Because I've talked about it for enough.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that you kind of said, there's surprisingly a lot of green on here. A lot of it's for Giannis. I mean, you look at the roller stuff; they ran it a bunch, they converted it at a high rate, so it's really easy when you have Giannis Antetokounmpo rolling to the rim, because teams can't stop him when he has the ball, at the top of the key. Do you think they're going to be able to stop him when he's getting fed the ball pretty much right at the rim? No, it's not going to happen. The post up stuff is crazy. He just kept running it, even though they weren't very good at it. Middle of the pack to kind of a little bit behind it, 17th in efficiency. The transition stuff definitely stands out. Giannis is a guy that is great running down the court. They have some guys that can push the pace. I think the biggest thing has to be the offensive rebounding stuff. That is insane. You had Brook Lopez, you have Giannis, you have some wings that can Taurean Prince is a big guy. Kyle Kuzma, he doesn't really try, but in theory he would be able to get some boards. But 30th is insane considering you have Brook Lopez who's can box out pretty much anybody, and Giannis who is a freak. So I think that stuff definitely stands out to me. The fact that they ran isolation a lot too is not a very good sign, but they still were 11th rated offense. So 14th in pace and your transition is that bad. It's not good.
Famous rebound man Taurean Prince knows the exact fundamentals of how to get a rebound. Unfortunately, he's still not a great rebounder. Kyle Kuzma, like you said, like sometimes just doesn't try, and Middleton, if he jumps a little bit too high, the hamstring's gone, the hips feel it the next day. And like Doc Rivers teams also just don't go for offensive rebounds very frequently. It's very normal around Doc Rivers teams. Like you said, second in post-up efficiency, seventh in isolation efficiency. It's really rough if you're high on both of those. And they still ended up being a decent offense because you have Giannis, you have Dame. It's hard for those possessions to end up terribly. As far as the defense goes, their defensive rating was a 113.4. That ranked 12th in the NBA. They were 26th in forcing turnovers, another Doc Rivers team specialty, third in defensive rebound percentage. Very good. As you can see, there was rebounding talent on this team. Isolation defense was 6th, 20th in pick and roll ball handler defense, 3rd in roller defense, 8th in post-up defense, and then 26th in transition defense. Key takeaways from the frequency stuff. Teams could run pick and roll pretty frequently against them. Teams did not isolate against them because they weren't a great defense perimeter-wise, as you can tell by the pick and roll ball handler defense. They struggled to screen nabs, and that really, really, really sucks when their primary focus, when they were a good defense, was as a drop defense team that would throw Brook Lopez really far back and drop coverage and allow him to protect the rim and have Giannis clean up anything that gets past Brook Lopez for whatever reason. That was kind of the key of what made the Bucks a great defense for like 5 years. And that significantly changed after the firing of Mike Budenholzer. So anything that stands out for their defense besides they still couldn't defend on the perimeter, which we pointed out last year. I think you're muted.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't help. It doesn't help Brook Lopez a lot. Like a guy that already like struggles a little bit with like elite rim protection and help defense when guys are blowing past you with ease. Um, yeah, like you said, like the drop coverage just wasn't good for them. Like the first half of the season, and then we kind of saw like them change a little bit and start switching a lot more. Um, like Brook Lopez even hedging screens at sometimes, and then just kind of causing chaos from there with everyone running around. The
Which
biggest things for me is it's just so crazy.
which didn't go
Sorry.
well, by the way.
Which didn't go
Oh yeah, no. Yeah,
And
they
that's
just
a
go
huge
ahead.
reason why they
Go ahead.
wanted Jericho Sims, because he's like a hedge ball screen demon.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like I think like that's the kind of identity they want to go with moving forward. We saw it with them getting a more mobile big in the offseason. But the rebounding stuff, like this team is third in defensive rebounding. Are you shitting me? Like they were the worst offensive rebounding team, and which is crazy because it's not like guys were running away from the ball like to try to get out and get the ball because they were not good transition team. Um, so yeah, that's crazy to me. Um, yeah, the ball, the pick and they got to figure out something with this pick and roll, obviously, because teams love to run it against them. And when you have like Giannis and some wings like that, it's kind of surprising that you're letting teams like take advantage of that so easily. And the transition stuff, honestly, pretty good. So yeah, it's just it's weird because I mean it's a good defense, but it doesn't excel at the things that you would think of, um, like with the pick and roll stuff and also the turnovers.
Yeah, you can't be a team that doesn't get defensive rebounds and then also gets ran on in transition. Like, really, just like, how does that happen, guys? What are we doing? Other than that, like, we'll get into it in this game section. We'll go ahead and get to there. Team scheme and coaching staff. As you can see, Doc Rivers, he watches the games, holding some popcorn. He'll draw up a player or two from time to time if he wants to make sure Kevin Porter Jr. gets the ball. you know, he's having fun over there. Real talk, it's second full season upcoming for Doc Rivers as the head coach. John Horst, their GM. Darvin Ham, David Yeager, two former head coaches. Let's go, baby. Don't look at their, or I mean, if you look at Darvin Ham's time with the Lakers, it actually didn't go that terribly. But don't look at David Yeager's time. He definitely had a great success. He definitely didn't coach the Kings in the midst of their tank. And then Vin Baker, former NBA, rotational player in the early 2000s. So, what stands out to you here? If you want free reign on any single one of these guys, go ahead.
Yeah, it'll probably. I mean, I think the worst like the the downfall of the Milwaukee Bucks was firing. Was Budenholzer the guy at the time, or did they have someone else? They did it. Okay, Budenholzer was it? It was midway through the season too, right?
Fire.
Um,
They fired Budenholzer, hired Adrian Griffin. They started 36-18, fired Adrian Griffin, and then hired Doc Rivers.
yeah, like ever since that happened, like shit hit the fan. Like even in that season, they went significantly like downhill once Darvin or Doc Rivers took over. And it goes to show like low key he was carried by that Celtics team, but that's a discussion for another day. Um, Darvin Ham, not well known bad coach. So it's just interesting. It's an interesting staff, and it sucks that Giannis has to be on it. But as far as scheme stuff goes, a lot of pick and pops with Brooke Lopez. Like Lopez shooting them deep threes was a big part of their game, especially early on in the game. The pick and rolls with Giannis, as we saw on the stat stuff, just him getting downhill is so good. And then they would run like some really cool actions with like the pick and roll being another man than Giannis, like the roller, like maybe Brooke Lopez or someone a little better passing, and then once they got the ball, they would dump it off to Giannis that was in the dunker spot. And then there was also a lot of off ball screens and stuff for cutters. And we kind of talked about the defense as well. They did like to go heavy drop earlier in the season, but I mean, they just ended up getting killed because like there was too much penetration from the perimeter. And then they kind of switched to kind of a more switching defense. So
Yeah, I mean, and they like kind of had to audible from trying to play how they played before because I think they felt like there was an obvious cap on their previous team, and their plan was, okay, we'll trade Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard, um, and just play the same exact way that we played before with Drew Holiday, but with Damian Lillard, and then Dame will have more offensive responsibility, and Middleton isn't as necessary for us. Obviously, if that's the situation, you should have just traded Chris Middleton. Um, but I don't think they were willing to make that call at the time. And then they obviously still fired Budenholzer, so they bring in Adrian Griffin, and he's trying to make significant changes, but they're not going to work with the infrastructure they had. He actually did wanted them playing high at the level of screens. The personnel wasn't there to do it. They still got decent results, but they fired him because the team was like, what the hell are we doing? Like, we can't play Brooke Lopez 30 feet up on ball screens. And now they need some type of offensive-minded coach to get the most out of the Dame Giannis duo, and they choose Doc Rivers of all people to do so. You could have called any like lower level assistant coach, and they're like, I know this is a rough opportunity taking over a team mid-season that has expectations, but you're getting to like all-time great top 75 players who are very great offensive players, and any competent head coach could have gotten something decent out of the Giannis Dame two-man game. Doc Rivers' offenses are known for being like mind-numbingly simple around their star player, like way more simple than it needs to be. A lot of the things that poke at Tom Thibodeau. And the thing is, I think Thibodeau is way better at putting some variety in the offense. Doc Rivers, just there's no unique ways that he uses star players. It happened with Kawhi Leonard in the Clippers. It happened with the Chris Paul Lob City team in the Clippers. Like, it's just very simple-minded offensive strategies. Pretty good at getting the most out of role players, offensively, but that's about it with Big Doc. I feel like we can always talk more about him. We can also always talk about more about John Horst. I think we ranked him in the bottom 5 of general managers when we rank GMs. You got anything else here with these guys?
Yeah, I mean, just to harp more on how bad the Kuzma trade is. I mean, he dropped a goose egg in the playoffs, put up Tony Snell numbers. Just a really questioning trade. Like, that was definitely not the player. Kuzma lost all his trade value. Like, whatever trade value he had, he left it in 2023 or 2022. Since then, he had not been a good player. So that was just really mind boggling. Like, yes, Middleton wasn't staying on the court, but like, he's just miles ahead of Kuzma, and you could have got a lot more, or you could have got a lot better than Kuzma.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like an equivalent player that's been moved recently, but like, I mean, I guess Denny was moved for a lottery pick. Um, like also in a different transaction cycle, but like Denny's definitely a better player than Kuzma. Like, damn, dude. Yeah, I'm struggling to think of wings who were moved at a similar time. I mean, damn, dude, you at least like just gotten Brandon Ingram. Like, if you were in the hunt for wings that were moved at this deadline, I know Brandon Ingram was moved for salary matching in a first round pick. AJ Johnson would have basically like sufficed as the first round pick because the pick that was moved was an Indiana Pacers pick. Um, ended up being involved in the tragic transaction cycle that was the Pelicans offseason this year. Um, but yeah, like the moves were just so that move was fucking terrible. Even if I do think the rest of his deadline was actually pretty good, Horst wise. But yeah, I'll let you get one more second on them if you have anything else. All right, we'll go for it. Draft summary: they drafted no one. Mark Sears, notable UDFA. He's on a 2-way. Could be a good player, maybe, but he is like 5'10". So was a great college shot maker that will have to transition over. I that's basically all I'm gonna give on Mark Sears. Like, he is on their partially on their NBA roster. I mean, do you have anything else that you really want to point out on him? All right. Yeah, they didn't have any picks, so
I'm good.
we will talk about trades and free agency. They didn't make any trades. They signed Miles Turner to a $108 million over 4-year deal. Signed Gary Harris to a 7.5 over $2 million deal. Amir Coffey, Thanasis, and Cole Anthony on minimums. What stands out to you with their trades and free agent acquisitions?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing has got to be you got like Miles Turner. That's crazy. Um, like a huge division rival in Milwaukee, like just right across the street, or in Indiana. And you flip him to come here, and he after the year he just had, like, and the years that he's had in the league, he had 15 points per game last season, 6 rebounds. Um, and he shot 39% from the floor, from the 3 point line, while averaging on 5 attempts per game. So that's just incredible. Career good shooter. This is actually one of his best shooting seasons he's had in his career, and he's better than Brook Lopez. So you upgraded there, and he's the same archetype as Brook Lopez, but better. A shooting big, and he's going to add a lot to the rebounding stuff, and a true shot blocker. So I think that's going to help their defense out a lot too. Uh, so yeah, I think the Miles Turner thing is huge, and I really like what they did there. Like, that's crazy to me that they got him.
Yeah, I don't hate the Miles Turner move. It's 27 million a year. He's like you said, he's a good shooter. I think he's a better shooter than Brook Lopez. I'm not sure if the percentages will say that. teams still kind of didn't guard Brook Lopez last season. Teams do guard Miles Turner. I think there's more versatility to his shot. I think he's even a little bit better attacking off the catch. So I think he will provide you better offensive spacing. Defense-wise, I think it's probably like he's slightly more agile than Brook Lopez has been the past 4 years, and probably slightly worse of a rim protector. I think Miles Turner is a little bit over the hill compared to obviously he was before a almost defensive player of the year caliber player, and now he's just he's a good enough rim protector to be a starting NBA center, and that should help them. I think at the very least it's an improvement on what they've had at the center position. Is it enough? We'll talk about that later. Specifically in the Ultimate Predictions episode. Yeah, what do you got?
For Harris?
Yeah, any of them.
Oh. Minimum is really calm. Tall wing that can shoot the ball. For the Clippers last year, he shot 40%. Only on three attempts per game, but that gives you the ability to spread the floor. Cole Anthony, it's a good depth signing for point guard when you're at a weak position, but we've talked about him before. He did have a down year, and there's a lot of questions from him because his up years weren't that amazing either. But yeah, I think the biggest one should be and Gary Harris as well. I have my doubts on Gary Harris, but decent shooter from the 3-point line. But yeah, I think the biggest one is Turner. I really like that, and I think Amir Coffey's also good. I like the Coffey signing as well.
Yeah, I think they filled out with some guys who should be able to play. We'll talk about long-term wise if that really means anything. Notable losses: they lost the Portland duo. Pat Connaughton goes to the Charlotte Hornets. Damian Lillard goes to the Portland Trail Blazers. Brook Lopez goes to the Clippers, and then Stanley Omunde goes to the Spurs. Obviously, the biggest loss here is Stanley Omunde. Anything that you want to touch on here that you really want to touch on?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a good job of replacing Brook Lopez, so I don't think that is going to be too detrimental. That loss is going to be too detrimental to their team. But the Damian Lillard obviously is big. He was your second leading scorer, 24 points per game, 7 assists as well. So he was really good at facilitating, and he shot 37% from the field last year on 9 attempts. So that definitely hurts. But I mean, if you do want to look on the bright side of this, did the Giannis and Dame pairing ever really work? We didn't get to see it work, so I think blowing it up was the right thing to do.
Trust I have the number.
Oh, well, I guess we'll find out soon.
Yeah, we will. I'll say this: the Damian Lillard wave and stretch combined with the Turner signing is just such a weird transaction. Going into the offseason, I was kind of thinking Dame for Bradley Beal was a real possibility. Turns out they both just get released, and I know Bradley Beal was a huge target for Milwaukee. It's just such a weird transaction on the aggregate with moving off of Dame. They weren't going to get anything from him this season, so I completely understand it, and they are operating as if they are on a super accelerated timeline to please Giannis, which I guess makes sense because you're never they're probably not going to run into a player of Giannis's caliber for another 40 years. So they kind of had to do some dumb stuff like that, and it makes enough sense, I guess. Yeah, sure. We'll move forward to their sheets. As you can see here, this does not include the Damian Lillard wave and stretch. Keep in mind they have about $24 million on the books for each of the next 5 seasons, no matter what. Dead cap hit for Damian Lillard regardless. Giannis is on his max contract currently extension eligible. Did not work anything out there with that. We'll have to see if anything transpires there. Miles Turner deal, like we said, 27 a year. Pretty fair value for the center market. I think if his game continues to regress at the pace it kind of has been, that could actually be really concerning. Um, I think that's a problem for the future. I think if he continues to play like Miles Turner, this deal is completely fine. Kyle Kuzma, terrible contract. Bobby Portis, he's the center version of Kevin Porter Jr. Let's go. And then, you got Kyle Kuzma, who's the center version or the wing version of Kevin Porter Jr. Then you just got a ton of guys that they signed on these mid-tier contracts. Will be very interesting in what they end up doing in trade with these, because I doubt they end up having all of those guys on the roster come end of the season. They have a ton of lower ranking minimum salaries, rookie deals with Tyler Smith down there. Hope he ends up getting some play time. And then, I guess we need to also mention Ryan Rollins, because he did have some promising signs at the end of the year last year. Cap sheets. They could have cap space, basically every year. That isn't taking into account the Giannis situation that they're currently dealing with. We'll just have to see. Lineup data wise, here we are. Giannis on the floor last year was a 7. Playing without Dame, he was a plus 11. As you can see, the offensive rating is also going up almost 4 points compared to Giannis in general versus Giannis without Dame on the floor. When Dame was on the floor, he was basically a plus 1 with a 116 offensive rating. Without Giannis on the floor, he was a minus 606 with a 114.3 offensive rating. Together, they were a plus 5.1 with almost a 118 offensive rating. And then for contrast, Giannis and Kevin Porter Jr. playing together were a plus 20.5 with a 125.5 offensive rating. That was in 244 minutes. That being said, I did go through and look. In those lineups, basically everybody who played in those lineups had like a 70% true shooting. So a lot of that is just like everybody was making shots during those minutes, but I don't think it is complete noise, because over 244 minutes, that's like not nothing, right? That is a sign that at the very least, Giannis kind of playing without another heavy usage player might be better than Giannis playing with a heavy usage player, at least in a Doc Rivers ran system. I think the large part of this is Doc Rivers was not going to get a greater than sum of parts, result from Giannis and Damian Lillard, because he's never been able to do that with anybody. What stands out to you with lineup data? Because there's a lot to make of this.
The biggest thing is definitely Giannis and KPJ, because I feel like that is something that you look at when building the starting roster for this, or the starting five for the upcoming season, because you're so decimated for injuries. Who's going to play that two position? Um, even the one position. And what else shows up to it or stands out to me is that there's a 5 point, like he's 5 points better offensive rating wise without Dame on there, and the offense goes up as well. And together the offensive rating is, it's I don't know. I honestly don't know like if that's how that stacks up, like in general. But like Dame obviously did well with Giannis, um, and he was just okay alone. So I think, like kind of like I said earlier, I don't know if the pairing was working. I really don't, and I think they had to blow it up. And I think that injury just kind of fast tracked things as well. And yeah, it's hard to blow things up, and the fact that they had the balls to do it is good. I don't know if they blew it up in the best way, just because like now they have no one. I mean, I guess Miles Turner does help, But in the front court, they're running with a bunch of guys that are all getting paid like under $10 million a year. So
Yeah, I think this pairing was just doomed to fail from the rip. Um, they have a first a first time in his career head coach as their first head coach during the time, who ends up getting fired midway through a season. Doc Rivers, of all people, takes over. And just, I think it was doomed from there. I think Giannis had like his best offensive season of his career this past year. He was so awesome. And Damian Lillard was like better this year than he was a year ago. Like he averaged 25 points per game, 7 assists a game, well, less than 3 turnovers. Like those are really good. His true shooting percentage was 62%, which is like really ridiculous from a 6'2" guard. But it wasn't helping the offense because it was ran so terribly that they are better off just running halfback dive with Giannis. Like this should not be the case. At the very least, with Doc Rivers as the head coach, it does you no better having Dame versus not having Dame. Lineups, I didn't know what to do. I'll let you go. I'll just say Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Miles Turner was what I came away with. Did you come away with anything else? I completely understand if you did.
yeah, man, it's tough, but I like KPJ at the one. I like KPJ at the one, and honestly, I I'm gonna be bold, and I'm gonna put AJ Green or yeah AJ Green over Gary Trent at that two position. I mean, he was just lights out last year from the 3 point line. I'm trying to find the exact percentage. Right now, yeah, he shot 36% on just mainly three or oh, sorry, he shot 42%. He attempted 363 field goals. That's what I was looking at. But he shot 42% last season from the 3 point line. Just really good stuff. Gary Trent Jr. also shot pretty well from there, but I like AJ Green. I like AJ Green. Let's give him a shot. I'm not a big fan of what Gary Trent brought last season. Oh, man, Ryan Rollins is really like he showed the ability to play well last season. And honestly, when Dame was out, he did get the starting nod at that one spot. So I mean, I could definitely see Rollins over KPJ. And I think if that's the case, I want KPJ in the starting lineup. Pretty much is what I'm saying. Man, it sucks that they have to put Kuzma there. So because Kuzma is just. It'd be nice if you could run if you could maybe get Portis there and then just put Giannis at the three. But I do agree that Giannis will play. I don't know. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say KPJ, AJ Green. Unfortunately Kuzma, Giannis, and then Miles Turner.
I think the unfortunately is key because neither of us want to play Kuzma. But the Bucks definitely are going to because they traded Chris Middleton for him. And he's their second highest or their third highest paid player. I guess fourth if you count Dame because they are paying him a ton of money. Yeah, I think if you want to still start Kuzma, I guess Milwaukee. I don't want to start Kuzma, but I am 100% expecting them to. I think AJ Green and Ryan Rollins both starting instead of Kuzma and Gary Trent Jr. probably the better way to go. And honestly, as you say now, starting one of those guys over Gary Trent Jr. is probably even better than what they're doing right now. But I mean, is there anything depth-wise that you like here?
No, not really. I mean, the point guard position's really rough. Like Cole Anthony being your guy off the bench is not good. Considering like the Magic would like not let that happen. Like they tried to play him as little as they could unless someone got hurt. And now he's gonna get a bigger role here. I don't really like Cole Anthony led offenses, so I don't know how well that's gonna turn out. Like I said, like a lot of these guys are like they're not even role players. They're fringe like two way guy or they're like two way guys, like guys that could be playing in the G League possibly. Um, it's rough when once you go down the line. Uh, is that Andre Jackson? Is that the Jackson that's
Yeah.
there? Yeah, it's gonna be a weird team. Like, yeah, the team's probably gonna finish top six, maybe, just because Giannis is that good. I don't even know though, because like Giannis is gonna have to play like 40 minutes a night, 45 minutes a night, for them to get up there. I mean, um, yeah, I don't love the depth. No.
They have a MVP candidate, a average starting center, AJ Green, who's like he's a rotational player, right? Um, Ryan Rollins might be a rotational player. We don't know yet. Like what he showed at the very end of the year was a rotational player. We'll have to see if that carries over. Outside of that, it's like third string NBA players. Like Jericho Sims is a third string center. Bobby Portis is like a very situational bench player who has been in this situation in the past with Milwaukee, but I'm just really not sure if he's going to bring what they need him to bring from now on. Like he doesn't have Brook Lopez to play next to who can stretch the floor. I guess they do have Miles Turner, but they need more rim protection. Like Miles Turner is a worse rim protector than Brook Lopez has even been. So that sucks. Kuzma makes a ton of money, but stinks. Torian Prince is like I would be okay with 14th man Torian Prince. He's like their 8th man, and like that sucks. Um, Gary Trent Jr. should never be in conversation starting on a team. Gary Harris barely played last season in Orlando. Cole Anthony, they were like, oh gosh, Jalen Suggs is hurt. Anthony Black can't play in the playoffs. I guess, oh gosh, how have I forgotten his name? The point guard who started in the playoffs for them.
Houston, Caleb Houston.
No, not even him. Corey Joseph.
Oh yeah. Was Houston on the team, or did I just make up a
No,
player?
you're right.
Okay.
Um, Other than that, though, like it's just a bunch of third stringers. Like you said, even with Ajax and Livingston, like third string NBA players, and then of course to top it all off, they get Thanasis. Awesome team. Uh, Love that this team exists. Um, in 2025 basketball, after every team knows how important depth is, we'll move forward after roasting their team for a time. Core questions: we think they improved this offseason.
No, no, I don't think they improved.
Gonna say no as well. Do we think they set themselves up better for the future?
No, things aren't looking too good in Milwaukee right now, and I'm like shocked that Giannis stayed. I guess it's just too much of an asking price.
Yeah, like I'm not sure what's going on, honestly. Um, their big move was bringing in Miles Turner, but the only way that was possible to happen is if they literally released Damian Lillard, who's Giannis's best teammate ever. Um, so that's great. Now you have $24 million a year dead on the books for Damian Lillard, and Miles Turner like has some sneaky downside to him. Like he's been on a slow, gradual pace down in his career. Like the shot's legit still, but the defense is progressively getting worse. Like there's real case where they just have like $55 million of dead money on their books for a long time. So let's go. Hopefully that keeps Giannis in town. If so, Giannis is like, I don't know, man. Like, what are we doing? Offensive MVP is definitely Giannis for me. I don't think you have a different answer. Defensive MVP, they are another team where I'm like desperately considering the shot clock.
I think that's a good one as well. Yeah, I I mean Giannis again. This isn't a great team defensively.
Yeah, I think it's Giannis as well. And then X Factor for them. This is definitely the like most disgusting X Factor we've had to discuss.
That's Kuzma. I guess Kuzma. Like if he's playable, if he's like startable, I guess that helps him. Miles Turner, but like I feel like I don't think like Miles Turner would have to put like an Embiid like performance up like when he won MVP to like for this team to be scary. Like I think that's as much of an X factor that Turner could be, and I don't think obviously I don't think that's attainable. I don't even know if Kuzma becoming like a startable player is attainable as well. So I really don't know, but I guess I'll go Kuzma.
Like just one of their players being good. Um, like between Kevin Porter Jr., uh, I think AJ Green's like pretty much a lock to be just somebody who can play. But like Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent Jr., Kuzma, like you said, Bobby Portis, Jericho Sims, um, and there's one other guy in there, Gary Harris. It like one of those guys is probably gonna be like startable, maybe. I don't know. It would be very unlikely for none of those guys to end up being startable players with just the amount of opportunity that's going to be available. But um, I don't even know if that's enough. Like we talked about with all this depth, like are any of them going to be playable? Like one of them will be a good player, but we don't know which one. I think, like you said, Kuzma is probably the biggest X factor because if they can get off that contract, it would be pretty good. Um, we got any other Milwaukee Bucks takes?
It's going to be a rough season, Milwaukee. I don't even know if my previous thing of them being a top six seed just because of Giannis is possible. I really don't know. This is a rough roster. This might be his worst. I mean, is this his worst roster he's
Yes.
been with since he's been in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like actually so bad. Um, and it's like funny too. Um, I think they are like they have the highest ratio of tattoos to good players in, of all time. Because like just going through it, like everybody's tatted up on their roster, which maybe that means something. I don't know. That's John Horace's you know, strategy for acquisition. I don't know. Do we think there's any way that this is like a real team?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, yes, because of Giannis, and Giannis is that good where they're probably make a play in. Like I don't think they're gonna be a lottery pick. I will say that.
Now, if Giannis gets hurt or sits out,
Yeah, that is a different story.
the Hawks are getting
That'd be really rough.
the Hawks are getting AJ DeBanza in that situation. Um, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Um, do we think there's any way out of it for Milwaukee either?
I mean, we'll have to see. It's I don't really know like the best plan of action from here on out, but I mean, the next couple years are gonna be rough until they can get another superstar or at least a star next to Giannis.
If they have a couple years too. I just have no idea. Do we think Giannis asks out this off or at some point this season?
I don't think he. I mean, he'll probably ask or at least make his frustrations very clear, but I don't know how he's gonna get out.
I mean, somebody will get Giannis. Um, which would you trade Kuzma or not Kuzma? Kuzma, Middleton for Giannis.
Crazy.
Horse would do it. Horse would do it. Only if y'all made sure to I don't know. I was trying to think of like a funny bad Wizards player, Kuzma adjacent, but y'all already traded Poole, um, so there can't be a
Anthony Gill.
yeah. Anthony Gill must be included in the Giannis trade. Otherwise, Horse is done with it. Or like Alex Sarr if he still can't make layups, I guess. We'll see. Anything else on the Bucks before we wrap this one up? This is such a tragic episode. And we're about to do the Indiana Pacers, who are missing a top 10 player in the league for the entire year, and it's way less tragic than this episode. And just lost one of their starters to the Bucks. Just so crazy.
Yeah.
We'll see next.
At least the first part of that video will be nice.
Yeah. The second part will be some good discussions at least. So we'll see you in that next episode. Milwaukee Bucks is done. We'll talk about them again in the offseason total predictions episode, and we'll see you then.